Ha! So in my quest to find out how people write these 100-page long fantasy novels, first I started with Wheel of Time, which was very long and very detailed, and it's a little boring and apparently... and very much so about traveling from one place to another and how the journey goes on the outside and inside of people. But I recently read The Way of Kings, which is the first book in the Stormlight Archives. It was a really good book, but where everyone stays in their starter locations. So it's a much different take on fantasy, where in the one I had the idea of traveling novel. It's very much so getting from one place to another, and traveling is a big deal. Where in Way of Kings, there's not much of a way, right? Everyone stays in one location, and it was just amazing to me what happens. And from the outside, people describe Brandon Sanderson books as no one getting anything done for 1,000 pages and nothing changes. That's not at all what happened. It's very much so an internal challenge-based book. Every character gets certain challenges that they up and go over. And unlike Way of the World, which I did not get a solid theme off of for everything, though I got a lot of elements of a fantasy novel, there is a solid idea in The Way of Kings, and that is, how do we make decisions? What drives us? What place in our life should honor take? And who do we trust? Just the themes in The Way of Kings is a lot clearer than the other book. This isn't a comparison video. I just want to talk about Way of Kings. The Way of Kings is such a clear book. We have these kind of four-ish main characters, 3 for sure main, and then the 4th one's kind of going around the background. The 4th one gets to traveling, though. He's a traveler. So I guess my statement isn't... None of my statements are universal. So our biggest point of view character is Kaladin. And Kaladin is a slave that is used to carry bridges, but he was trained as a soldier and before that a surgeon. And he has given up in life, and it's the story about how he learns to kind of fight back and make the best of his surroundings, and then eventually uses all of his past training in order to inspire a group of people to follow him. Then the book follows the High Lord, who has done his best to follow an ancient book of laws about how a leader should carry themselves and how countries should be run. He carries the weight of his brother, the former king, being assassinated. It is his journey in how he takes this book that he has started following in his life and a series of visions that he's received from perhaps God to see how he will deal with the problems and how to properly run his country and unite his country instead of being splintered by high princes. Then it follows a noblewoman in her quest to steal a powerful, enchanting object from a scholar named Yasna, who is also the princess of the assassinated king. And she needs the enchanted object known as a soul caster in order to put minerals in the ground for her family to mine so that they can pay off the debt left by their dead father, who is dead in secret. And she is experiencing freedom, her passions, for the first time in her life. She finds someone to love, she finds something to be passionate about, and she has run-ins with these soul-casting, life-changing magic. And she literally confronts philosophy at the hest of her teacher Yasna. Yuhusna? They're just about are not noble knights in this one. This book is very focused on the murkiness of motivation and action and the result of those actions. The reward for a noble action might be all of your friends are dead now, or now you've been assassinated. The book rejects the easy answers of good or bad and kind of smashes and grays up all of the dualities that it shows you. Someone is a magic caster or they're not. People either save lives or destroy them. Yasna's assistant protege is the one that most confronts this in her study of philosophy. Our 4th perspective character is an assassin/slave who's truthless in that there is a little magic chit that whoever holds on to it is his master and can tell him to do anything they want, and he's magically supposed to do it. The only exception to this is he can't take his own life. That's like it. He can't kill himself. He is an assassin who hates killing people, but he's compelled to by this magical thing, and he's really good at it. He's the one that assassinates the king in the beginning of the book. We see as all of his beliefs, as all of his honor, all the things that drive him are slowly whittled down by him being commanded to murder all these people and to walk on stone, which he believes is people believe are sacred. By the end of the book, he's full on cutting stone. He's full on murdering people. He's hating everything in his life, but he is compelled to go on because of who he is. The reason that he's given for all of his actions is that it's the only way to save the world. And this embrace of murkiness is seen in just about every aspect of the novel. There are these really powerful monsoon kind of magic storms that happen, and if you don't have shelter from it, you will probably die or go insane. But these storms are the things that have stormlight that's infested in their money, that makes their magic work, that makes their economy run. Enchants creatures with these powerful minerals that actually make life possible on the planet. So the most destructive force is also the most life-giving. The three kind of magics that we see is one, lashing. Someone takes arclight and infuses it into a mineral or an object, and it can send it into a direction. So if you can bind something that will go straight up in the air and it will fly, or you can take something and attach it to the wall and it will stay there really, really hard. You can take this arclight and it's a shield negotiating with otherworldly beings, and then you can transmute objects so they can make one thing's gold, or purify blood, or create food, or when they want to make steel or swords, they'll shape wood into the exact shape of the blade, and then someone will cast it into steel, and that's how they make their weapon. There's some people that can take arclight and hold it in their bodies, and that gives them a boost in agility and strength and like awareness. But the drawback to that is once they run out of arclight, it's very hard to breathe and they're really tired. There are these mystical blades that are like made of some kind of force magic that are described as both a curse and the most expensive weapon in existence, in that somebody can think to summon it, but it takes 10 beats of their heart will appear in their hands. And then these blades can cut through anything except for living tissue. But what it does instead of living tissue is it severs the connection of their brains, and in a way it burns out their souls so that their eyes just go all goobery, and can actually cut flesh unless the flesh is dead. And although probably the most powerful weapon in the book and nearly unstoppable, it's also described as unnatural and terrible by several characters, but we haven't gotten the full reasons for why. I assume it has something to do with why it cuts people's souls and leaves their eyes burnt out. And there's the Lord's visions, which whenever he has them, gives him advice, but dubious advice and kind of wrong that kind of gets him into trouble just about all the time. And then the message of the book is that you have to do these things for yourself, by yourself. You can't wait for the world to just become better around you because it should be. You have to make it better around you. You have to put in a lot of effort yourself, despite the consequences or drawbacks or what it's done to you before, in order to make the world a better place. Every character is where they are because of their own actions in their environment. Led there either because of inaction or because they trusted somebody that they really shouldn't have. Criticism I've heard of Brandon Sanderson's work is that nothing happens in 3,000 Places. And my mind kind of thought about this too, in this way, because unlike a lot of other fantasy books like Lord of the Rings or The Wheel of Time, where places are traveled to and decisions are made that way, all the decisions are made at the single locations, the ones where people start at, and that is perfectly fine. And in its a way, more things happen because things are changing internally for the characters, and new challenges are coming up all the time, rather than one singular major challenge just being there and hanging over everyone's head. As a bonus, The Way of Kings was also written during NaNoWriMo, Not completely, though. It wasn't a NaNoWriMo book. Jordan Sanderson said on his podcast Writing Excuses, 1 year of NaNoWriMo took place when he was 78,000 words into The Way of Kings. As he wrote, he just updated his word count and followed along in order to be part of the community. It's not strictly a NaNoWriMo book, but still related, which if you didn't know, it's NaNoWriMo. And I am deep in it, in that I've shot several videos ahead of time to put out. You can check out my NaNoWriMo progress through my Patreon. I'll have a link to my Nano page if you want to buddy me. Otherwise, you can also duel me in word sprints, which I'll do with my patrons. And also, to see my current progress in the current novel, there's a tier to see my current work in progress, WIP. Is that something? It's something a month. I'd love to interact with you. I can share with you as I write, and I think it's really cool because I love Google Docs. In Google Docs, you can get on and you can actually see in real time me writing it and reading it, and you can give me your thoughts. Quite, it's going to kind of suck because it's a first draft, but also I'm going to keep going all the time. Yeah. Give this video a like, comment if you've read it or you think the whole series. It's going to be a long series. Way of Kings, 3 books are published, but Brandon said there's going to be 10 of them. So this might be a lifetime book. It might take most of my life for all this to come out. It might be longer. This could be my wheel of time. Share it to your friend who also liked fantasy or was wondering what to think of this book. And I'll see you next week.